Actually, can you guys hear me now? I don't know why it wasn't recording, or if it was before. This is going to be a problem. Might have to redo this one. Oh, anyway, I'll just kind of tie it in. Like I said, if there was no voice, that's a problem. Anyway, okay, so what I see for you, Pisces, in the month of August is that there is going to be a lot more coming through for you in terms of you're coming out of a hardship space. Like I said, there's a lot of good energy here, a lot of ideas, a lot of momentum, a lot of energy. You are so, taking charge of your life here again in the month of August. So I do feel like there is a strong focus again on your practical growth, your work ethic. You're really in that space, nurturing that aspect of your life. I do feel like, especially when I see the Queen of Pentacles out here, like I mentioned before. Geez, I was just thinking 29 minutes in and nobody told me there was no voice. Anyway, okay, as I go, let's get over it. But what I see here is, like I said, August, your focus is you're deeply focused on building something here. Absolutely. I definitely feel like, you have career, home life, and personal development on your mind. This Queen of Pentacles indicates that you're stepping into that role of, or again, could be surrounded by somebody who's a nurturer, provider, caretaker, anything of that sort, but really balancing the emotional aspects and the material responsibilities of things in this month. It is followed up by the Eight of Pentacles. So again, a lot of hard work that's going out here. So I would definitely say, this is you honing your craft, you investing the time and energy, improving your skills, developing a project. You're doing it with patience, long-term goal in mind, and there's a lot of precision. But this is work mastery. The magician also came out here too, but you're making some really big decisions in this month. And so if you're building a business, this is master craftsman. This is the person who is improving whatever their job situation is, or improving their, financial condition all overall. I do feel like this is a primary focus for you. It's coming through on that basis. But like you said, financial, or for whoever this resonates for, but the financial responsibility this month is certainly evident. And so I would say, you're being careful with your money managing, really well, and your home life is becoming more comfortable, more secure, things of that sort. But your focus is really balance home and work. And so you're blending all of that together, your domestic responsibilities with your career goals, especially when I see the Queen of Pentacles out here with the Eight. So I feel like, you're committed to the process. You're doing the small daily efforts, because what it'll lead to the long-term reward. You're not rushing the outcome. This is a month to sort of build and refine, not jump in and do anything chaotic. Now, the next cards out was the Six of Swords, and it's, what do the finances kind of look like? I want to say that you're moving from the Six of Swords is, moving from a place of uncertainty or limitation, and you're moving into a place where there's a lot more momentum in this month. And it certainly is, where it's increased momentum and control for you. And I would say it's still a slow start or a cautious energy at the beginning of the month, but things will shift quickly. And then, and of course, you have all the tools to sort of keep things going, and make real financial progress in this month. If you just stay focused and proactive, things along that line. So again, the Six of Swords, you're transitioning out of a difficult time, and it's a difficult, uncertain financial phase of your life. And then we also have the Four of Pentacles, is the calm, necessary shift, but it could also indicate some new financial strategies here, but it's very slow, methodical building. You're building up the foundation again, is what I see there. So again, financial strategies, there's a desire to hold on to your resources due to the past scarcity that you were undergoing, and I do feel like you were, for whoever this resonates for. But I feel like you're making wise choices. You're very protective of your money. You're very strategic, but I definitely feel like it's still coming through as a little bit of fear-based, simply because it is the Four of Pentacles and holding back. But Eight of Wands, be ready to act fast, because things change quickly in this month. And I feel like you might receive some news or payments or chances to grow your income. And this is not the time to hesitate with that. But once you hear the news, you'll know where things are headed. The Magician is also in that same energy of you have everything you need to create financial success. So the card of manifestation and its skill, and you have all of that. It's your resources, it's your talents, and you can turn everything into your favor because you have this card. You don't need to do a lot. I don't feel like you need to do a lot of over uh, researching and all of that. It feels like you're in a really good space, but you are moving from stagnation to acceleration in a really big way in this month. So I would say be cautious with your budget, but it will be followed by a sort of a sudden financial movement ahead, and then you will be called to be more strategic in the way that you act on that, but you are definitely have more control than you realize in a situation. So again, be mindful with your money early in the month, stay flexible, trust your ability, to make some smart choices here. You will have some small bursts of energy, and those will be opportunities to make some moves. And I feel like launch a project, launch a job, or launch the idea, apply for a job, or whatever it is there. Like I said, a lot of action cards here. And then we also have the Nine of Wands. So again, don't let fear sort of stop you from investing in growth, because with the Four of Pentacles, I think there's an opportunity that's going to come in here that'll help you out. But I feel like your financial outlook in September is even better because you had the cards of. I just want to reflect back here because I did ask specifically if there, is there anything further coming out there in September, and that's what the Star is. That is the financial outlook in September. The cards are Star, and also the Ten of Wands. So you're still in the energy of heavy, heavy kind of overwhelm. But there's hope, there's healing, there's optimism, there's responsibility for sure, and it's still pretty heavy, but I would say there's more of a renewed optimism that you are making a turn. The things are turning in your favor. So it's a long-term vision that's guiding you forward, basically, with the Star. So again, carrying the heavy load here with the Ten of Wands, but you still have hope, inspiration, breakthrough on the horizon. You had the Judgment card out here. You had the Star. Lots of really amazing cards that way. So again, you're still feeling financially stretched, taking on too much, feel like you're handling things alone, but this is really, you're going to be able to sustain the pressure and that financial responsibility. You could ask for support, of course, but I do feel like despite the weight, you're able to carry it. There's a clear path to renewing things here with the Star. So you're moving in the right direction. You're working toward the dream or that financial recovery. And I feel like the hard work is now, but the hope for, better is improving, and hope for later. So it's burnout versus belief right now, and it's effort leading to eventual relief. So just know that there's a chance to heal that financial stress. It's coming in pretty quickly here. You're doing a lot of work in August. And then we've got the Nine of Wands. So again, don't lose sight of your big picture, because what you're working on matters in this month, especially. Delegate where you can, simplify where you can, so that you're not on full burnout. But keep nurturing the faith in your financial future, because you're closer than you think. So September again is where more of the plan is sort of starts to unfold, and I feel like that's when you can really start to envision like more a recovery, an ideal financial situation. Things are still developing though in that area. Now I want to say, just want to check where I had the Justice card. Sorry guys, couple more seconds. Okay, so we also had the Justice card. There it is. Oh, so we had the Justice card here. And this is where, the Justice was followed by the Two of Wands, the Five of Wands, the Wheel of Fortune, and the World card. So what that really means there is that this is, it's showing more connection that's going through a shift or a reevaluation. So in terms of a significant relationship, that's where this aspect is. I feel like there's mutual respect, and there is also some inner tension, however, and I feel like it's marked by some mixed emotions. So it's almost like there's a shift going on with that connection. So, like I say, relationship feels like it's at a bit of a turning point. There's a need to kind of balance things out and sort of keep some level of fairness, and maintain the truth, you know, between you, because right now it feels like you're both sort of in that space of evaluating where you stand and where you can go. There is some emotional tension there. This is the where you can go, but there is some emotional tension there. So I feel like, this could be where there's differing priorities, in terms of your needs, or, what's being met here. But I do feel like either way, there is something here more favorable, where there's a big shift. And this could be, again, where there's more of a positive in terms of the finances. But at the heart of things, with the Three of Cups, this is really where genuine feelings exist. So this is really strong emotions. I definitely feel like both of you might not be 100% sure of the next steps, how to make things work. But I do feel like how you feel about each other right now is you both want things to be fair. You want to be heard. You want there to be honesty in the connection, and it feels like there's a little bit of a crossroads there. Wondering about the future, whether to move forward or to wait. There's definitely some feeling of conflicted emotions, like I said, because we have that Five of Wands there. It definitely feels like you're unsure about whether or not, you're both sort of on the right path or on the same, playing field. But I feel like, whether it's you or the other person, things are still changing quickly and unexpectedly with the Wheel of Fortune. I feel like they're going to be pulled towards you, um, but uncertain. And, there's still more of a positive emotion here. Again, it's more of a playful side, or even an event or something positive or happy, or a connection, something that you're all kind of, a group event or something like that, because there's real value in the friendship. There's real value in the emotional bond, and so even if they're unsure of deeper commitment or deeper issues or whatever right now, everything is still going in the right direction. But again, it feels like you're both still searching for balance, but there's a lot of mutual respect and effort there as well. So I feel like emotionally or situationally, whatever it is there, it's at a bit of a crossroads, but the potential for that reconnection or celebratory energy or more communication and honesty is there. So again, there's destiny and timing that are kind of at play here because of that Wheel of Fortune card, but either way, it's still looking pretty good. And I would say that the advice there is to have a clear conversation about what you both want, and what's fair, and also about, acknowledge that the emotional attention is there, but don't let it dominate the conversation. So trust that, what is unfolding for you is grounded energy, and you're doing a lot of work. You're doing, an amazing amount of processing these cycles very quickly. Like I said, Nine of Wands and Judgment, making decisions rapidly, really resilient energy. And there's a really strong foundation, even in terms of, for those of you that kids or just around family in general. Um, but there is a really strong foundation here of joy and a sense of shared happiness, milestones, being shared together, that kind of thing. And it really feels like you're either reaching a point of a significant phase, where the relationships are evolving and staying strong, because there's a lot of emotional resilience here with the Nine of Wands. But it feels like it's still very protected. And even though there's some fatigue and some, showing some wear at the edges, so to speak, it feels like there's endurance, but nobody's giving up, and everybody's kind of holding space for each other, even though they're strained and there's a lot of tired energy here. But there is love, and there is celebration, and there is connection to, even friends and family. But there's joyful sort of elements here. Maybe not showing up in August as the celebration could be, but maybe something a little further out. Actually, I would say there is some, possibly even more on the, yeah, there might actually be some kind of milestone or some celebration of sorts, because that Four of Wands does indicate that. But the bond is, like I said, it feels like there's a lot here that is progressing. So it's like you're learning from one another. Um, And you're taking pride in your children and or in family, and they're taking pride in you because of your, you stand guard, you protect, you push through, you're emotional. But you have some fatigue, of course, showing here. So again, still deep commitment though, and there's a little bit of that emotional struggle or weariness still coming in though, but loving and stability and emotional, depth, all of that. So it does feel like you're the strong one here holding things together, but a lot of growth cycles that you're undergoing. Again, there's some guardedness or emotional tiredness, needing more rest, support, that kind of thing. But certainly your relationships are rooted and strong. And I feel like you do celebrate the small moments here in meaningful ways, even in terms of parenting, all of that. But I feel like you just keep showing up, you know, with love, and that presence matters in these areas. So, like I said, I still feel like the other cards out here with the Five of Swords, there is a couple of small minor things that you're still struggling with. But again, the majority of the cards are very significant, like Chariot, Judgment, big major arcana. So it's like it really plays the the smaller cards, like the emotional friction is what I would see with the Five of Swords. So it plays that down, waters it down, because you're gaining the strength to leave it behind, so you're not really self-sabotaging your patterns for too long, even though there are some moments. But I feel like you move forward with purpose, and that's what matters. The Chariot, the Judgment, does show me that you're answering a deeper inner calling, and it's a new chapter, and there's a lot of confidence, and you have strong conviction and ambition here. So like I said, you've turned something around with that Five of Swords energy. It's past conflict or miscommunication, but it becomes a lesson and a source of, petty battles that you've overcome. So now you're learning to choose peace over winning something here. The Chariot is the victory and the control, but this is also momentum and discipline and willpower. So again, I just feel like, where the areas of your life where you felt stuck, it's all now starting to move. It's like deep kind of spiritual epiphany or an insight or whatever it is for you, but it's like a life altering decision that helps you to feel like you can move past the past and step into this new energy here, because you've got more emotional clarity, more mental clarity, and it's like it's come after some emotional drama for sure. But again, you're back on purpose with your career or your personal purpose. And I definitely feel like you're just able to start fresh emotionally, spiritually, anything like that. Again, advice on that is don't fear the difficult conversations, but do what's fair. Channel your emotions, into productive things. Reflect, forgive. Judgment is all about rising above things. It's the liberation card, and it's a second chance. So get ready to move forward. And again, you're doing it in a really balanced sort of way, because you're building the foundation. Again, is what I see here. I want to say though as well, because of the death card over here, and again, we're just recapping, but the death card is, it's the challenges that huge metamorphosis of some sort here, but you're letting go, and it's patience through slow progress. But it's almost like you've been patient, and then you had the slow progress, and then all of a sudden you've just taken charge, and now you're just releasing and transforming. So the progress may have been slow and methodical at first, but I feel like you're going head on into some real strong energy here, because you're letting go here of the old patterns, the dynamics, relationships, mindset, whatever it is. You're surrendering control, but it's like you're moving slowly in some areas, but you're very committed. You're not losing focus. The progress isn't instant, but it is incremental. So I feel like it's been a test of your endurance and your discipline. That's for sure. Um, I want to say with the Ace of Swords here again, this is truth, this is mental breakthrough, and you've got a lot of cards of that. But it's like it's like your worldview has been challenged in some way, and it's forcing you to cut through, the illusions, the denial, the things that um, were blocking you in some way. Because the reality is, Page of Wands is more of an adventurous card. There's newness, there's excitement coming in. It's part of the challenge to keep the energy focused and grounded, and not to burn out and scatter your intentions. But because the card at the bottom of the deck was just trying to find it, you guys, was the Six of Pentacles, I feel like you're getting a lot of help this month. And this may have been in a previous months as well, but You've got a lot of cards of releasing the tension. So again, Six of Pentacles, that's reciprocity, generous, fairness, all of that. But it definitely feels like you are ready to embrace the new. And again, like I said, there's something here restorative in your relationships, restorative in your finances. You are getting help from other people. And I feel like things are starting distributed, even though maybe not right yet, but I feel like there is a lot more give and take. So if we were to tie everything in together, there's hope at the end of the tunnel. You know, you're balancing out your relationships. There's still some conflict, but there's definitely some shifts and some reconnections there. Family, kids, stability, growth, resilience, strong, themes for this month. But I do feel like there's more energy, there's more money, there's a new passion, there's a lot of new ideas coming through. I feel like your finances are improving, and I feel like you are the stability is coming again through your hard work. So that's what I have for that. I know it's a bit of a recap, but because I was told that you guys didn't hear it at the beginning, now I'm a little stressed out about that. Okay, so let's just see what cards are coming in for. Okay, so I'm just trying to. So for Maria, a Sufi. Okay, what are the feelings? There was a third party. Okay, let's see what are the feelings of Sufi for Maria? What are the feelings for Maria with the Sufi? Okay, the card that came out is Seven of Wands. Let's see. What are the feelings for what are the feelings between Sufi and Maria? What is he feeling for Maria? E. Okay, let me just ask, why the Two of Cups? Why is the Two of Cups here? Why is the Two of Cups here? Why is the Two of Cups here? All right, well, I feel like you're going to receive some communication from this person pretty soon. I mean, there's definitely some defensiveness for sure, and there's been definitely distance. Is this person coming back around? Is this person coming back around? Is this person coming back around? What's the Death card here for? Okay. Feelings between a Sufi and Maria. Seven of Wands, Ten of Swords, Knight of Swords, Two of Cups, Sun, Page of Wands. And then, is this person coming back around? Death card, Two of Wands. Okay, what I'm going to say here is yes, I don't feel like this is a done deal situation. Because the feelings here are showing up as, I feel like the connection here is there is a deep emotional bond because of that Two of Cups. It feels like there's a deep emotional bond, and it's especially when the Sun card is here, Page of Wands following. I feel like this could be a younger person, or at least there's some kind of communication that's coming in here. It certainly feels like it's intense. It definitely kind of a layered feeling here because there's evidence of the emotional bond, and it's almost like soul level sort of connection, like a really strong understanding. There's excitement, there's attraction, especially with the Page of Wands. But again, there's also emotional pain with this, the defensive energy, the fast, possible hurtful communication with the Knight of Swords, Ten of Swords, betrayal. To me, it feels like this person's coming back around. And I definitely feel like you or both of you feel like you need to defend your heart or defend themselves or whatever. There's definitely ego clashes coming up in here. I definitely feel like, there's a lot of misunderstanding. The walls are up. I feel like that the wound is pretty significant, but a 10 does indicate it's sort of at that last cycle. So it does tell me that, it's strong, impulsive kind of communication. There's an urgency, to speak. You say things that are a little bit unforgiving. They're, again, despite the pain though, and that communication coming in pretty quick. And again, it doesn't feel like loving communication, it just feels like immediate communication. But again, it's like it's a mutual love, or at least there's a strong emotional attraction there. And it's almost like there's a mirror effect between the two of you. So, with the card of the sun, this is where you both see each other as, giving joy to each other. There's like some kind of, innocence or warmth between you, in the connection. And there is still that spark of curiosity, with, to keep the passion alive, that kind of thing. It's like it never fully died. It's something along that line. So there is still love, there is still passion, there is still a longing to be with each other in some way. But there's a lot of pain involved here. There's a lot of pride, and there's a lot of miscommunication, and there's distance. And that's where the collapse is. So I don't know that I do feel that they're going to immediately make some attempt to reach you because of the hope and the warmth, and something still lingering there. But I feel like, with that death card, something still has to process here. And so the connection between you is in a transformational phase. So even though there's going to be some kind of communication, I'm going to say that it's still probably going to be a little bit rocky, because there's still a lot of radical changes taking place. This is the radical change. This is where, things can't continue the way they were. And it's almost like, someone is still, planning, with the Two of Wands, and wants to return, is planning to return. They're considering a return, but again, if they come back, there's got to be some boundaries. There's got to be some clear boundaries, and this person has to have, emotionally matured in some way. There has to be forgiveness, as well. Said there's still hope in this situation, because even though there's a longing, there is still some distance here. I feel like they're thinking about reconnecting or reapproaching, and I feel like there will be a communication. But I feel like they're still watching from afar in some aspect. Again, I feel like there's potential. There is some kind of deep change that's taking place between you. But as I said, I feel like this requires emotional maturity, because again, we're kind of looking at, a page and a knight. It's not a king. So there's emotional maturity that has to take place, honest reflection, and kind of, things might evolve from there. But that's where I see things at right now. There will be some more communication, but it's going to be a little bit on the negative side. But there is still a lot of underlying emotions, a lot of intensity there. So hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of insight as to what's happening for Pisces. But anyway, I won't erase this video, just because for the first half, hopefully I can put up a comment stating, that there is vocals, but for whatever reason, I must have had something turned off here. I did do a little adjustment. So keep moving forward, guys. Never give up. We'll see you in the next read. And for those of you that this matters, it's not how good you are, it's how good you want to be. Keep going.